In today's tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate a beautiful design that would be perfect for bridal showers, and it's going to feature a piped buttercream wedding dress. We are working on a 10-inch cake today, but this style will work for any size of cake. So I've frosted it with white buttercream, and I'm gonna go over it now with some blue buttercream on top. So this is buttercream, just our fluffy vanilla recipe that is tinted with a little bit of teal to give us a nice light blue shade. And I've cut the tip off of my piping bag. I'm just doing a quick outline of my cake. We're just gonna have blue only on the top. So whenever I do this, I think it's easier to pipe a ring and then fill in with your piping bag or your spatula. And I'm going to get it as smooth as I can just using my spatula. And then, as you've seen me do many times before, we're going to let this crust for a few minutes. And then we'll go in and smooth things out with our paper towel. Okay, so my buttercream has been crusting for about 10 minutes. And so now I can easily just go in with a paper towel. This is a Viva brand paper towel, so that means it doesn't have any impressions, which makes it good for smoothing. If you'd rather, you could use the hot knife method or just get it as smooth as you can just by using your spatula, but I use this method a lot. Okay, so once you get the top nice and smooth, you can move on to the next step, which in this case, I'm going to show you a fun little pipe technique around the sides. Okay, so around the sides, I'm using a small star tip. This is a piping tip 15, and I'm doing a type of piping that you all have seen me do before in our star tip video, but it's just smaller this time. And basically the motion that you're using is a continuous motion all the way around, and we're actually making cursive L's, basically, is the way this goes. So I'll just do it slowly first. And then we finish one L and then go right into the next one. They don't look like L's once we work it all the way down. So now I'm just going to go in once again. We start at the top. And I'm just doing teeny tiny little loops. And you can kind of work it out so that one loop fits into the empty space right next door. If you want it to look a little bit more like it flows better. Okay, so I'm just going to continue this. This is just like a little delicate type of piping. It looks more difficult than it actually is. And sometimes when I'm doing this, I'll space it out more so you can see more of a looped look, but I kind of like the closed look of today's design better for what we're doing. We don't want to distract from what's going on top. Okay, so I'm just going to work my way all the way around, and we'll meet back in just a few minutes. Okay, so now I'm going to pipe a wedding dress on top of the cake with buttercream. And I'm starting with just kind of a basic outline using a small round tip. This is a Wilton tip 4. And I've marked about where the center of the cake is and the spot where I'm going to start piping. So we're going to do a heart shape for the top, just sort of a sweetheart neckline. Okay, so I think this looks about right for the shape that we're going for. So I'm going to fill this in with our buttercream. And this does not have to be perfect, although I'm staying within the lines. I want to go ahead and add my sugar pearls before this has a chance to crust. So here are some Wilton sugar pearls. They're just edible pearls. So I'm just dropping our sugar pearls on, just give them a light press down. And I'm just going to continue adding these pearls until we're a little bit further along. Okay, so the top of the dress is finished. I just wanted to show you, if you have any sugar pearls just kind of roll out of place, I've dipped my paintbrush in just a little bit of clear piping gel, and you can just pick it up that way. That's a little bit easier than trying to pick it up by hand. And if it falls in a place where the dress is going to be anyway, it doesn't really matter if you make an impression or an indentation in the icing. But just up here, that's a good little tip. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick outline of the bottom half of the dress, again with the Wilton tip 4, and this is going to be a really big, kind of exaggerated dress. So we're just going to bring this out, and this just gives us a basic idea of where we're going to be piping our ruffles a little bit later. Okay, so now I'm going to start piping the ruffled bottom half of this dress. So I'm using a tip 104, and the small end of the tip is going to be facing me. And so we'll just bring it down and straight back. So the opening is parallel to the surface of the cake, and we're just making individual petals, just like this, all the way around the bottom. And in a second, we'll meet back and we'll begin doing the next layer. Okay, so now I'm piping the second row. Again, same thing. The small end of the piping tip is towards me, but it's slightly angled up this time so that we don't run into our first row. So bring it towards me and straight back again. So this is just how we pipe flowers and flower petals, except for normally with a flower, it's the small end is away from us. So that's the only difference. But the motion is just basically the same. Bring it towards you and back to complete one petal, and we're just repeating that all the way around. You can play with the angle, and that will give you a little bit more movement. Or if you'd rather just do a long line of ruffles, that would look nice too. Okay, so I'm just going to continue piping row by row, and we'll meet back in just a few minutes. Okay, so now we are a few rows in with our ruffles, and you can see it's becoming more and more curved. And so I want to straighten things out. So to do that, I'm going to build out the ruffles in the center. So we'll just make a few here. And that kind of fills things in a little bit. And maybe a little bit more. Here. And then I'll start back at the edge again. Okay, so gradually we're going to get to where it's more of a horizontal row rather than as much of a curve. Okay, so I'm just going to continue filling in these ruffles until we've reached the top of this section of the dress. Okay, so our ruffled dress is finished, and I think it looks cute. So now I'm going to add some straps. So to do that, this is just a very small round tip. This is a Wilton 1, and I'm just going to make 2 loops. Oh, that's all wrinkly looking. Okay, let's try again. I have to sort of... Okay, then we'll just do the other one. Okay, so now we're starting to finish things off, and so I'm going to add a little bead border. This is with our Wilton tip 4, and I'm just going in at a 45-degree angle, go slightly up, down, release the pressure, and pull away. And we have a separate video on bead borders if you are new to bead borders and would like to take a look. Just a really delicate border. And what my plan is to go all the way around with this strand, and then we'll probably go back in and pipe another little bead border to hide this little bit of blue that's showing on the side. But we'll come back to that a little bit later. But first, we're just going to take this all the way around. Okay, to pipe a quick bouquet, I'm going to take my small little tip 2 round tip, and we'll pipe some stems from Buttercream. And this Buttercream is tinted with Americolor Avocado Green and a little bit of Wilton Leaf Green combined. Okay, so we'll start with our stems. And then we'll go in with a tiny little Wilton 1 small round tip. And I'm just doing a lot of spirals for our little roses. And I'm just going to do lots of these, and we'll kind of pile them on top of each other in places that need a little more height. I don't know if you want to stop it now. Okay, so now I'm in the process of piping little buttercream hearts with some white buttercream using a small round tip 2. And to do the little hearts, it's almost as if you're piping a bead in a bead border. And you can do it in 2 different motions like this that I just did. Or if it comes more easily to you to just do 1 motion, that's fine too. But just basically small little hearts is what we're doing all the way around the dress. Okay, so our cake is finished. I think it came out really pretty, and this would be a perfect, simple design for a bridal shower cake. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.